Hello and welcome to TVI Tips from Amanda. In previous videos, we've learned a little bit about what Braille is. We've learned that a Braille cell has as many as 6 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We know that letters have only one Braille cell, and contractions, which are groups of letters that make a whole or part of a word, may take one or multiple Braille cells. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how to learn the alphabet. We're going to talk about letters A through M in this video, and we might learn some strategies for certain letters that help us to learn the dots. Now, before we start, we need to talk about how people who are sighted typically learn Braille. Of course, we could always learn Braille tactily, but usually parents and paraprofessionals who are just starting to work with children who are blind or visually impaired and are learning Braille learn to read Braille visually. So the strategies that we cover today are going to be strategies that help us to visually remember the Braille dots, and they may not be appropriate for people who have not had any vision in their lives, but they might help people who are dual media learners or people who are advantageously blind. So here we have the letter A. A is dot 1. There's really no good way to remember A. It's probably the easiest Braille cell to learn. It's just a dot 1. Next you have B, which is dots 1 and 2. Knowing that B is 1 and 2, you might think that C is 1, 2, 3, but it's not. C is dots 1 and 4. A, B, and C are probably the 3 easiest letters to learn and probably the first 3 letters that people typically learn. Then things start to get a little trickier. D is dots 1, 4, and 5. Doesn't look like anything special. It's just one of those letters that you have to learn and memorize. Next is letter E, maybe. Here's an E. It's dots 1 and 5. It's often confused with the letter I, which is the opposite. And in another video, we'll talk about some different strategies that people who learn Braille use or might use to help them remember the E and I differences. Now we're on one of the letters that has a trick, I think, for learning the letter F. F is dots 1, 2, and 4. It actually kind of looks like the capital letter F. Like if you're starting to write an F, you do your over and your down, and then you might even know that there's a cross right there. So when I'm teaching some students who have some vision or are familiar with the print letters, I might draw them the letter F in print and show them the dots. It kind of feels when you're reading it tactily, if you start on that right side and you come down, it kind of feels like you're starting to write an F. There are corner letters, D was one of them, that are comprised of dots only in the first 2/3 of the Braille cell. And these corner letters, they look like corners, can kind of be tricky for people to learn. So there are some visual strategies for some of them, and F is one of them, dots 1, 2, and 4. The letter G is 1, 2, 4, 5. It kind of feels like a square. It has a group of dots really close to each other. H is another corner letter. It's dots 1, 2, and 5. It kind of looks like an H, or if you put dots at the end points on your H, knowing that it's only in the top part of the Braille cell and not in the bottom part of the Braille cell, you can feel the letter H as you read it, or you just might memorize those end points for the letter H to help you remember that corner letter. Here's the letter I, dots 2 and 4. We talked about how it was confused easily with the letter E right here. I slides up and E slides down. E comes first in the alphabet, so it starts with a 1 and then has a 5. It's the 5th letter. First in the alphabet for the E and I, and is the 5th letter. I is second, so it has a 2 and then a 4. Those are just some quick strategies. Now we're on to J. J is another one of those corner letters, and again, it has a cute little visual that can help you out. It's dots 2, 4, and 5. It kind of looks like a J. And just like with F and H, you can kind of draw those parts on there. If you know sign language J, the dots kind of go in that same sign language J hook type thing. So if you can remember that, that might help you out. There's a J. Next is K. K is a fun letter. It's dots 1 and 3. I don't have any cool strategies for remembering K, but usually people find that one easy to remember. Next up is the letter L. It's dots 1, 2, and 3. It feels like a straight line down, just like you would draw an L in print, or write an L in print, 1, 2, and 3. Here's the letter M. M is dots 1, 3, and 4. There's no good way to remember L that I have found, or M that I found, but if you have a strategy, let me know, because I love to have tricks and songs to help my students remember their letters, and I would love to have more in my repertoire to share with people, because everybody learns different tricks that work for them, and everybody has things that don't work for them. So something that might work for me or might have worked for my students in the past may not work for you, and that's okay. So if you have something new, let me know. I'd love to share it with everybody, and I hope letters A through M are a little bit easier for you now. Thanks.